because I have the most expensive Pokemon card around my neck, and
yeah, let's see it.
Superman.
Oh my God.
The one of one.
What?
Now you can just buy a token on Liquid Marketplace to own high value, top tier assets that you cannot get anywhere else.
This might be one of the weirdest collectible stories in years. Logan Paul somehow ended up right in the middle of another messy situation, and this time it dragged in the entire Pokemon and trading card world. Around 2022, he jumped in heavy, dropping huge money on rare cards and sealed boxes, turning it into non-stop content and hype. At one point, things even went completely sideways when he got scammed, adding even more chaos to the story. And that's when everything started shifting. Not long after, he teamed up with investors to launch something called the Liquid Marketplace. The idea sounded clean at first. People could buy small ownership pieces of real-world collectibles like trading cards or sports items. They said blockchain tech was running quietly in the background, making it all feel modern and secure. But what really pulled people in was the big promise: fractional ownership of one of the rarest Pokemon cards ever. We're talking 51% of a PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card. That alone had collectors locked in, thinking they were getting a piece of history. Fast forward a few years, and the whole Liquid Marketplace situation basically fell apart. Legal issues started popping up, and from the outside, it looked like Logan slowly backed away from everything.
Have a high-profile item, an expensive item such as the PSA 10 Illustrator that was a 9 several times before it got a 10. That is not the case, even though this thing clearly is not a 10.
Later on Twitter, he claimed that in 2024, he bought back the fractionally owned share of the card, saying it followed the original terms. But even with that, people weren't convinced, and the whole thing still felt off. What really caught people off guard was how he started talking about the platform like he barely had anything to do with it. That hit different because he had been front and center promoting it like it was his own project. And that's exactly why things exploded when he revealed he was teaming up with Ken Golden from the Netflix show King of Collectibles to auction off that same Pikachu Illustrator card. People weren't just confused, they were heated. This move didn't match what they were originally told. Under the deal, Logan was set to get a big upfront payment plus a cut from the final sale price. That triggered serious backlash, with people questioning how that even made sense after all the fractional ownership talk. The biggest question spread fast. What happened to the people who thought they owned a piece of that card? What about those investors? Some voices in the community, including Rattle Pokemon, pushed back hard. He even argued the card might not have deserved a PSA 10 grade in the first place. He pointed out flaws and suggested it may have been submitted multiple times until it finally got that perfect score. That only added more heat to the situation. Online reactions were intense, and posts calling Logan out were everywhere. Then another update dropped. Logan said Liquid Marketplace had unclaimed funds available for withdrawal. He shared a link to the site, which had been offline, telling users they could log in and recover their money. But here's the twist. It didn't really look like investors ever truly owned the asset the way they thought. That just raised even more questions. Over the past month, Logan has been pushing the auction non-stop. Heavy promo, flashy clips, high energy, the usual. But people noticed a pattern. Anytime someone brought up criticism, they got blocked instantly.
What is up, collector? Rip It is coming soon, and you're gonna want to be first in line. So we're growing our wait list for users to get early access and to give back to the day one collectors who help us grow this thing. Top referrers will climb the leaderboard to get rewarded with things like the holographic pull from this first edition heavy pack, a $30,000 base set unlimited box, and a PSA 9 first edition Lugia valued at roughly $7.
No warning. One example came from a deleted post where Logan wrote, "Goodbye, my friends. What a privilege it's been to be the owner of the greatest collectible in the world." He talked about records, WWE debuts, Netflix, national news, calling it a generational run. Then someone replied, "Liquid Fraction owners remember they once co-owned this Pikachu card, LOL." And just like that, blocked. That pretty much sums up the vibe around this whole rollout. At the same time, he flooded timelines with intense promo clips. To be fair, he knows exactly how to grab attention and keep eyes locked. He understands controversy brings views, and this situation proved it again. But shutting down comments just made things louder because people had nowhere to respond directly. Then, the big moment finally hit. The auction wrapped, and when a massive $12.5 million bid dropped, Logan's reaction said everything. You could hear him repeating, "No way, bro," over and over.
Current bid on the Illustrator, $12,400,000. sets a new record all time. 12.5 million.
No way, bro.
Ken's whole team. I think they did it. We now have the record. The most expensive trading card of all time. $13 million. 20,000.
Completely stunned. Moments later, it became official. The card sold for a record-breaking amount, becoming the most expensive card ever sold. It even passed a record tied to Kobe Bryant, which is wild. But even with all that, one question still lingers. What about the people who thought they owned part of it? Years later, they're just now being told they can withdraw funds. That adds another messy layer to everything, because while the celebration is happening, people are thinking about money that was locked up the whole time. That money could have been used for real-life situations, rent, emergencies, anything. Maybe someone needed it badly, but now none of that seems to matter. Logan's celebrating, records breaking, champagne popping, confetti flying like it's a movie scene. The contrast is crazy when you really look at it. At one point during the auction, bids even climbed to around $16.5 million. Then they brought the winning bidder on stage like it was part of the show. The whole thing felt more like a production than just a sale. And when you really think about it, once people reach that level of money, something changes. It's not about stopping, it's about chasing more. More headlines, more attention, more records. The whole scene looked like two wealthy guys celebrating another massive flex.
Gucci, he's a film director, and we have been fans of Pokemon since we were kids.
Oh my God.
This was the right way to start the treasure hunt.
You just starting?
I just started it, baby.
One of them even showed up in a Pokemon onesie talking about filmmaking, which made everything feel even more unreal. And of course, the buyer was beyond excited. Someone just dropped $16.5 million on a single card. Let's be real though, there's nothing shocking about spending huge money like that when you already have it, but the moment still felt over the top. Then came the final handoff, Logan passing the card like it was some legendary artifact, turning the whole thing into a dramatic ending. And it didn't stop there. The celebration went full performance mode. Champagne spraying everywhere, loud applause, cameras flashing nonstop. And right in the middle of it all, Ken Golden standing there like this was the biggest moment the collectibles world has ever seen. Then right on cue, another Guinness World Records plaque gets handed out. Another title, another headline stacked onto the pile. Meanwhile, the people who once believed they owned a piece of that card are now being told they can log back in and pull out their original funds. That's it. No growth, no upside, just access to what they already put in, and that alone raises a lot of questions.
This is bigger than the card. It's bigger than me. I don't even understand what's happening right now, but it's surreal, dude.
I think this is a great first acquisition for that treasure
I
collection.
fucking agree, man.
Oh my God.
I agree, dude.
You're a gangster.
During that same live stream, Logan Paul rolled out his next big project, and it instantly felt familiar. The whole thing is being marketed as the future of collecting, but the structure has people doing a double take. Users get VIP-style access to pack openings tied to real graded cards, with options to instantly cash out, store items in vaults, or have them shipped directly. It sounds modern, but it mirrors that same idea of digital access connected to physical collectibles, just repackaged. This time, they added a leaderboard system, turning it into a full competition. You join a waitlist, invite others, climb rankings, and unlock bigger rewards. The more people you bring in, the higher you move. It's the same high-energy rollout, the same heavy hype, just with a new label on top.
Paul,
Logan, you get it.
Ken Golden,
Yes.
tonight you sold the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card for $16,492,000. On behalf of Guinness World Records, I can now confirm you have achieved a new record title for not only for the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold at auction, but also the overall record for the most expensive trading card ever sold at auction.
Maybe it really is different, but when something looks this close to a project that already faced legal issues and backlash, people are naturally going to question it. At this stage, that skepticism didn't come out of nowhere. It built up over time. The system pushes users to recruit more people, and the more referrals you stack, the higher your position climbs. Every confirmed invite boosts your spot on a public leaderboard, turning collecting into a social competition. It's not just about cards anymore, it's about status. Bring in more people, move up faster, and show off your position compared to everyone else. Once inside, users can open packs and chase cards tied to Logan's personal collection. And if you remember how things played out last time, that history alone makes people pause. To be clear, this isn't saying the new project is exactly the same as Liquid Marketplace, but the similarities are hard to ignore. The structure, the rollout, the energy, it all feels very familiar. If someone decides to jump into something like this now, they should at least understand what they're stepping into. Even younger users with access to a parent's card should think twice before getting involved, because this isn't as simple as it looks. You can tell the team put serious effort into it. The marketing is polished, the presentation is clean, and the hype is loud, but at the same time, the launch feels disconnected, especially when you remember how the last project ended. It's like celebrating a huge win, while people from the previous one are still trying to figure out what happened. Then earlier today, Logan responded to the criticism around the fractional ownership situation. He said the auction night was historic and thanked the Pokemon community, Ken Golden, and his team. That part is fair. It was a major moment. But then he explained the ownership side, saying that while up to 51% of the Pikachu Illustrator card was offered, only about 5.4% was actually sold, which came out to around $270,000 back in 2022. In May 2024, he said he bought back that 5.4% stake at the same price it originally sold for, following the platform's terms. According to him, those funds were then made available for users to withdraw. If that's accurate, then 5.4% sounds very different from the original 51% figure that pulled people in. From a legal standpoint, buying back shares at the agreed price may check out, but this is where things start to feel off for a lot of people. That same card just sold for $16.5 million. If the value increased that much, many feel fairness should go beyond just the contract. The argument is simple. If early supporters helped fund it, should they have shared in that growth? For example, if someone put in $10,000 back then, some believe that returns should reflect the increase instead of just getting the original amount back. Legally, maybe not required, but ethically, that's where opinions split. Logan also said users had about a year to withdraw their funds after the buyback, and according to him, many did. Then things got complicated again. He claimed the platform going offline was out of his control. But once he realized users couldn't access their money, he stepped in and paid to get the site back online so withdrawals could happen. He added that users were notified by email and funds are now accessible. So now it comes down to perspective. On one side, if only 5.4% was ever sold and the terms were followed, that changes the situation. On the other side, once a $16.5 million sale happens, expectations shift fast. People see that number and feel early supporters should have shared in the upside. And it's worth noting that Pikachu Illustrator wasn't the only asset involved. Thousands of collectibles reportedly moved through the platform, making this a much bigger conversation. Then adding even more noise, Logan stirred debate by claiming he's a better athlete than Tom Brady.
Told that I'm being flown out to Saudi Arabia to compete in a Fanatics flag football game with you.
I'm actually a little worried for you because I know
Worried for me?
Well, you're a good athlete, but you're like
No.
These guys are another level. So
I am the highest level. I am the level.
no, you're not the level.
I am the level.
You're a good athlete, but honestly, when I'm thinking of Saquon Barkley and I'm thinking of like
Bro, can Saquon
Odell
Barkley
Beckham
do
and Justin
a
Jefferson,
flip off the top rope at LA
it's
Knight?
cute. It's a great, I love WWE. It's very cute.
Same,
but
bro.
honestly, this is like real football. This is real competition.
I was an all-state linebacker. I rushed for 1,200 yards, 19 touchdowns.
I mean, look, we all had a great pass. I won 7 Super Bowl. Who don't gives a shit? You know what matters? This game, March 21st in Saudi. I'm glad you're going to be there, and I'm glad you're finally going to participate in like a competition that matters.
This guy's insane.
Statements like that always grab attention. Confidence or arrogance depends on who you ask, but it adds to the overall perception people already have. So here's where things stand. If Logan really wanted to close this chapter cleanly, one option would be to allocate part of the auction profit to those original 5.4% investors, scaled to the card's growth. Would it cost millions? Probably. But compared to a $16.5 million sale, it wouldn't be a massive hit. And the impact on public perception could be huge. Is he required to do it? No. But it could settle a lot of the noise. Now it's your turn. Do you think he handled everything fairly based on the original agreement, or should early investors have shared in the upside after such a massive sale? Like, subscribe, share, drop your comments down below, and see you on the next one.